You know, history has this kind of poetic way of repeating itself, doesn't it? When two nations step onto a football pitch, it is rarely just about the 90 minutes ahead of them. Sometimes the echoes of the past ring out so loudly you can almost hear the clash of swords and the roar of ancient battlefields. Welcome to this documentary explainer, where today we're unpacking a truly monumental World Cup quarterfinal clash. This is the story of England, Norway, and a rivalry centuries in the making, arriving at an absolute boiling point under the blistering Miami sun.
Okay, let's dive into this. Because to truly understand the gravity of 2026, we first have to understand the ghosts of 1981. This incredibly frantic quote you're looking at, that's from Norwegian commentator Bjørge Lillian. After a group of semi-professional Norwegians pulled off a miraculous 2-1 upset over a heavily favored English side in Oslo during World Cup qualifying, Lillian delivered what is widely considered the most famous radio rant in football history. It established a fundamental truth for us. Whenever these two nations meet, the stakes transcend a standard football match. The script literally goes out the window.
But actually, scratch that. This story begins way before the invention of the radio. We can draw a direct line from the year 1066 to the year 2026. Think about it. 960 years ago, at the Battle of Stamford Bridge, England's King Harold II defended the island against the invading Norse king Harald Hardrada, which effectively ended the Viking Age in Britain. Fast forward through the centuries to that legendary 1981 upset we just talked about, and finally to this incredibly humid night at the Hard Rock Stadium in Florida. The armor might have been traded for modern sweat-wicking kits, but the underlying narrative of the English holding the line against a fearsome Nordic invasion remains remarkably intact.
Which brings us to the number 12. This Miami quarterfinal marked only the 12th meeting in their modern footballing rivalry. Now sure, England holds the historical edge with 7 wins, but Norway's rare victories? They have always been era-defining shocks. Because of that, there was this lingering tension in the air before kickoff. Everyone in the stadium and the millions watching around the world knew for a fact that Norway possessed the historic ability to pull off massive, earth-shattering upsets when the three lions are standing on the other side of the pitch.
If you're enjoying this documentary, subscribe to Flop Files and share this video with a football fan. We uncover the stories behind football's greatest moments and biggest comebacks.
All right, part 1, setting the stage. To really appreciate the magnitude of this quarterfinal, we need to look at the vastly different trajectories that brought these two heavyweights to Florida. On one side, we have Norway's absolute fairy tale of a run. Returning to the World Cup stage for the first time in 28 years under the guidance of manager Ståle Solbakken, this team completely captivated the globe. I mean, they didn't just show up, they broke entirely new ground, reaching their first ever World Cup quarterfinal. And how did they get there? By delivering a stunning 2-1 upset over the 5-time champions Brazil in the round of 16. It was a victory powered by the sheer relentless brilliance of Erling Haaland, who netted twice in the dying minutes to send the South Americans packing. They were, without a doubt, the tournament's ultimate underdog story.
On the other side, we have England. Thomas Tuchel's men were, as always, burdened by the eternal quest for their first major trophy since that magical year of 1966. And their path? It was anything but a fairy tale. It was a gritty, grueling campaign of pure survival. In the previous round, they faced co-hosts Mexico in the suffocating 2,200-meter altitude of the Azteca Stadium. England had a man sent off and posted their lowest ever recorded World Cup possession at an astonishing 33.2%. To put that into perspective, they were chasing shadows for 2/3 of the match. Yet, they still managed to grind out a chaotic 3-2 victory. So they arrived in Miami, battered, missing key personnel, but fiercely resilient.
And this brilliantly illustrates the headline battle of the night. This quarterfinal was billed universally as the Clash of the Titans, Harry Kane versus Erling Haaland. Two of this generation's absolute greatest number 9s, but with beautifully contrasting styles. You've got Kane, the all-around creator, a captain bringing vast experience, leadership, and incredible tactical intelligence to drop deep and link play. Haaland, conversely, is the apex predator, a relentless finisher, the tournament's Golden Boot leader, and a man operating with historic, ruthless efficiency. It was a masterclass in attacking philosophy just waiting to unfold.
Moving on to part 2, the quarterfinal battle. So, with the stage set and the whole world watching, the players emerged into the sweltering heat of the Hard Rock Stadium. The tension was palpable. This wasn't just a game, it was an unfolding thriller. And those first 90 minutes, pure, unadulterated chaos. Norway actually seized the initiative early. In the 36th minute, the Benfica winger Andreas Schölderup swept a stunning cross shot in off the inside of the far post, 1-0 to the Vikings. But England, weathering an intense wave of pressure, responded right before the halftime whistle. In the second minute of stoppage time, Jude Bellingham embarked on this powerful driving run, finishing coolly to level the score. The teams went into the tunnel completely deadlocked, but honestly, the drama was only just beginning.
Wait, before we move to the second half, we have to talk about the controversy surrounding that equalizer. Immediately after Bellingham's goal, Norwegian manager Ståle Solbakken was absolutely furious on the touchline. His claim that in the build-up to the goal, the ball had actually struck the stadium's overhead spider-cam cable, altering its flight path and giving England an unfair advantage. The officials waved away the protests, but it left this massive lingering question hanging over the stadium. Did a piece of broadcasting equipment just change the course of World Cup history?
The tension only skyrocketed as we crossed the hour mark. Norway wins a corner. The delivery swings in, and Torbjorn Heggem forces the ball over the line. The Norwegian fans just erupted. The bench spilled right onto the pitch. Absolute jubilation, as the Vikings believed they had retaken the lead against the mighty Three Lions. For a few fleeting seconds, it looked like 1981 was happening all over again. But, as we know in modern football, the celebration is never really the final word, is it?
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the agonizing margin of error at this level. The referee presses his earpiece. VAR had intervened. The replay showed Erling Haaland, in the chaotic scrum of the penalty box, delivering a push to the back of England's Elliot Anderson just before the ball went in. The whistle blew, the goal was ruled out. The emotional whiplash in that stadium was staggering. It was a heartbreaking intervention for Norway, but an absolute tournament-saving lifeline for England.
Which brings us to part 3, extra time drama.
With the score tied at 1-1 after 90 exhausting minutes, the match moved into extra time. And that Miami humidity, it was really taking its toll. Muscles were cramping, and pure exhaustion began to dictate the tempo. This is the period of a World Cup where tactics fade away and sheer willpower takes over. And in this grueling battle of attrition, unexpected heroes rise, like England's substitute Jed Spence, who came on and completely locked down the left flank with incredible defensive resilience. Then the climax arrived. Just 3 minutes into the first half of extra time, the deadlock was shattered. Substitute Morgan Rogers unleashed a fierce, stinging strike. Norway's brilliant goalkeeper, Orjan Nyland, who had been spectacular all tournament by the way, agonizingly spilled the save, and there, reacting with lightning speed, was Jude Bellingham. He slid in from close range, burying the rebound into the back of the net. The Real Madrid star had his second of the night, securing a dramatic, lead-stealing match winner for the Three Lions.
So the crucial point is this 0 right here. 0. That is the number of goals Erling Haaland scored against England. Going into this match, Haaland was riding an astonishing 14-match scoring streak. He was the most feared striker on the planet. Yet an English defense that had been heavily maligned and questioned throughout the entire tournament, anchored by Mark Guehi, John Stones, and Dan Burn, managed to do what literally no one else could. They completely shut out the Norwegian talisman.
When the final whistle blew, the contrast on the pitch was stark. The Norwegian players collapsed to the turf, devastated by the narrowest of margins, yet rightly proud of having achieved their country's best-ever World Cup finish. Erling Haaland left the pitch visibly crestfallen, a captivating story cut brutally short. Meanwhile, Thomas Tuchel's England were a picture of pure relief. Surviving by the skin of their teeth, they celebrated a gritty victory that officially booked their ticket to the semi-finals, marching on toward a massive clash with defending champions Argentina.
Nearly a millennium after Norse warriors and English armies fought at Stamford Bridge, their descendants fought for a place in a World Cup semi-final. This time, the Three Lions came out on top, but Norway's Viking spirit gave England the toughest test of their tournament so far. Thanks for watching Flop Files.